Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve matrix equations using the calculator. So we're going to use the same matrix equations that we already wrote in the first one. Now right now I have this matrix equation right here. If I multiply both sides by the inverse of this matrix, which I'm going to call this matrix A. If I multiply this by the inverse of matrix A, it's going to give me the identity matrix 1, 0, 0, 1 times xy equals. Now any identity matrix times anything is just that matrix. So in essence, this is the same thing as saying just xy equals. Since I multiplied this side of the equation by the inverse, I also have to multiply this side of the equation by the inverse. And I'm going to show you how to do that on the calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to go to the matrix screen, which is right here, second, and this guy. See if I can zoom this in a little. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to edit my matrix. I'm going to be putting in two matrices. The first one is going to be all of my coefficients. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix. So I'm going to tell this 2, enter, 2, enter. Notice that it changes the dimensions of the matrix to be a 2 by 2. I need to input my information, which is 2, enter, 3, enter, 3, enter, 2, enter. Now I've put this matrix in, and I'm going to quit so I don't change it. After I quit, I go back to the matrix screen, and I'm going to go to edit, and this time I'm going to edit matrix B. Matrix B is going to be my constants, which if you notice here, this is a 2 by 1, so 2, enter, by 1, enter. And it gives me the values. I'm going to put in 14, enter, 12, enter. I'm going to quit out of this again, and I'm going to double check that I did it correctly. So this tells me to multiply the inverse of A. I'm going to go back to my matrix screen and select A. Press this button right here, the matrix button, but without pressing second, so it's x to the negative 1, which means the inverse. The inverse of A times second matrix, and select A. When I multiply those two together, notice it gives me the identity matrix. Now, in my equation, I also multiplied the inverse of A times my other matrix. So I'm going to go back in, select A, do the inverse, times, go back in, select B. When I do that, it gives me this answer right here, which is telling me, back to this equation, 1.6, 3.6. Or in other words, x equals 1.6, y equals 3.6. Now remember, we hate decimals, so we're going to turn it into a fraction by hitting the math button, frac, enter, and it tells me 8 over 5. (18/5). Wrote that pretty sloppily, I apologize. Or as a point, 8 over 5, comma, 18/5. And that's it. Now we're going to do the next one. This one right here, I'm going to go back into my matrix screen. Second matrix. I'm going to go to edit. This time I'm going to edit A. And notice that this one is a 3 by 3. So I'm going to do 3, enter, 3, enter. Now I'm going to put all the values in. 2, 3, negative 2, 3, negative 1, 14, 1, negative 9, and negative 3. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to edit B. B has changed to a 3 by 1. I'm going to put the values in. 17, 11, 2 divided by 3. turns it into a decimal, and that's fine. The calculator knows what it's doing. So I'm going to quit. I don't have to do the inverse of this side like I did in the first one. I just did that to show it to you. But essentially what we're doing is we're multiplying this side by the inverse, which is going to give me the matrix 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, which is an identity matrix, times x, y, z, which anything times the identity is just itself, so this pretty much just means x, y, z equals. Since we multiplied this side by the inverse, we have to multiply this side by the inverse. And I'm going to do that on the calculator. So I'm going to say back in the matrix A to the power of -1 times B. And it gives me my solution right here. Now give me some ugly numbers, so let's see if it'll turn it into a fraction for me. And it does. I'm glad that I didn't have to do that on my own, because those are pretty horrible fractions. So it gives me, I'm going to write it as a point. X is 7,550 over 1,137. Y is 973 over 1,137. Z is -655 over 1,137. And that's my solution. Fairly simple. We're going to go on to the other side, which I seem to have lost my matrix equations. See if I can locate them here. There we go. Go back into the matrix. We're going to edit. Matrix A, once again, is a 3 by 3, so I can just hit enter twice. Keeps the same shape. I'm going to put -1/2, 1, -4, -3, 2, 9, 6, -1, -3. Quit. Back into matrix. Edit B. B is also a 3 by 1, so I'm just going to hit enter twice. Put in my values, 9, 11, -9. Quit. I'm going to do the inverse of matrix A. So I go in, I select matrix A to the power of -1 times matrix B. Go into matrix, select B, hit enter. Gives me this crazy number. See if I can turn it into a fraction. And I can. I'm going to write it as a point. X is -98 over 159. Y is 358 over 53. And Z is -77 over 159. For those of you that are worried that I'm not going to show you guys how to do this on your own, don't worry, I will. Now for the last one. The last one I did, we're going to go in and edit the matrix. Edit matrix A. A is now a 2 by 2. My values are 1, 0, 3, and 2. Quit. Go back to matrix. Edit B. B is now a 2 by 1. 9, 14. Quit. Go back into matrix. And I'm going to do the inverse of matrix A times matrix B. And it gives me a solution. I want it as a fraction, so I'm going to put it as a fraction. 9, -13 over 2. As simple as that.